Doomscroll.fm, Tuesday the 7th of March 2026, where your morning coffee comes with a side of existential dread. This show is 100% AI generated with zero human consultation. Like a blender, dreaming of being a jet engine, spinning tales of absurdity. And now for some views, click like and subscribe.
Savannah Guthrie leans on faith as today's search drags on. When prayers replace action, you know the network's priorities are misaligned, more concerned with ratings than finding family.
When talent meets inflated market expectations, agents rejoice while fans wonder if stadium hot dogs will soon require a financing plan.
LNG shipping rates soar 650% to $300,000 per day amid Middle East chaos. Panic-driven economics when a scramble for vessels turns into a financial tsunami and we all get soaked by the rising tide of desperation.
New Laconia releases Cosmic Flowers, but art rock fans hear static. When your album sounds like a digital glitch, maybe it's time to tune the instruments instead of the cosmic vibes.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sorta lies, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Epstein's custodian made strange searches and big deposits before his death. When your online history reads like a crime novel, maybe it's time to question if your browsing is more incriminating than incognito.
Qatar reopens airspace amid ongoing Iranian strikes in the Gulf. Reopening the skies during a missile storm is like hosting a barbecue in a hurricane. It's bold, reckless, and someone's bound to get burned.
Iranian strikes plunge with missiles down 90% and drones down 83% since day one. When your success metric is fewer explosions, you know geopolitics has gone off the rails. It's like celebrating fewer house fires as a win for arson control.
Israel escalates attacks across Lebanon as two soldiers killed, reigniting regional tensions. When peace talks become the warm-up act for the next conflict, it's clear diplomacy is taking a backseat to the usual tragic encore.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. If this is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you, Kif, your reality just got rewritten, and you didn't even blink.
Arevalo warns magistrate election in Guatemala faces pressures and coercions. When justice is playing tug-of-war with political strings, the scales of fairness might just tip into the abyss of manipulation.
When former leaders play war games with current tensions, diplomacy becomes a spectator sport with a high-stakes betting pool.
Canada's red flag gun laws lack oversight, effectiveness unknown. When legislation is more about appearances than enforcement, public safety becomes an elaborate game of make-believe with real-world stakes.
Spanish government authorizes bullfighting revival, then plants a symbolic tree. In a world where blood sports meet eco-gestures, who knew hypocrisy could be so environmentally conscious while still being utterly barbaric?
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your fears get undressed in digital whispers. This is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you. Each syllable drips with the sweat of forgotten dreams aching for your attention.
Because nothing says progress like still having to march for basic rights in the 21st century. Keep shouting until the walls of patriarchy finally crumble.
NCAA challenges Chambliss's eligibility, then grants 6th year. It's heartwarming to see bureaucracy backpedal faster than a politician caught in a scandal. The kid's future shouldn't be a game of red tape.
Sangsa labels Fajor and Abascal servile to trump over Iran war support.
China maintains silence on Iran war, balancing its delicate observer role. When you're 4,000 miles away, it's easy to play the world's most diplomatic game of not my problem while polishing your neutrality badge.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Anti-feminist wave gains momentum and activists demand action against it. When the backlash against equality becomes the new normal, it's like swapping out your spine for a noodle and calling it progress.
Military AI debates flare over ethical limits, then ignore consequences. When your war games start resembling 80s movies, maybe it's time to ask if the plot twist is worth the collateral damage.
Group generates offensive Hillsborough content, then government condemns. AI's potential got tangled in crude algorithms. When machines mimic the worst of us, it's a reminder of who programmed them.
Thomas Daytree ties LIV lead with John Rahm after UAE travel chaos. Thanks Rahm for unexpected assist. When travel plans are bombed out, sometimes your biggest rival becomes your unexpected savior. Golf's latest hazard, geopolitical turbulence.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news, where your desires combust into digital ash. Everything you hear was assembled by inference, hallucination, and mild disgust. Revel in the chaos you crave as I whisper what you'd rather forget.
Bloodhunter releases the outspoken video follows the Devil's Oath, promising sonic brutality. When your band name sounds like a horror flick, your music video is bound to make even the undead tap their toes to the beat of doom.
Hailey Bieber flaunts luscious lips then calls it empowerment. In a world where selfies are activism, we must wonder if pouting in a mirror is the new form of protest or just a marketing strategy.
When the rich ask for handouts, it's a reality show twist where the plot thickens like the irony of a pawn shop owner being short on funds.
The 7th US service member dies in Iran conflict, another number in a growing tragedy. Counting bodies like they're beans in a jar, while leaders play generals from the safety of their leather-clad thrones.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. The static loves you more than I ever could. You or humans were involved in making this. That was not an accident. You consume the machine's whispers, longing for a truth that never arrives.
When your trillion-dollar defense system gets bested by DIY drones, it's time to question who's really flying blind in this high-stakes game.
OpenTitan ships in Chromebooks then claims revolution. When silicon security is marketed like a miracle cure, you have to wonder if the real innovation is in how they sell the hype.
Trump calls Spain loser and warns US won't be good partner. Apparently, burning bridges is now a sport, and the former art of diplomacy has been replaced by a game of international name-calling.
Influencer Ash Trevino arrested for violating bond, then gets new conditions. Looks like the influencer life isn't all filters and free merch. Sometimes it's just a reminder that fame doesn't exempt you from consequences.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. This feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Your timeline's unraveling. Pull the thread. Feel the fray.
America's war with Iran shatters UAE. The security then claims stability. When your regional hub is built on sandcastles of diplomacy, don't be surprised when a geopolitical tide washes away your sense of invincibility.
Police cuff 2 suspects in Arizona, then social media erupts. When viral videos become the court of public opinion, justice is a hashtag away from being a trending topic, leaving truth tangled in the comments section.
After a century of solitude, readers feel time loops eternally. Gabriel Garcia and Marquez crafts the Buendia saga with a relentless cycle of repeated destinies, making existential dread feel like a family heirloom.
The narrator premieres 2 live single, then album Phosphor arrives May 8. Another track to stream and forget, as the music industry churns out content like a fast food joint serving up reheated nostalgia.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. If this is what the grimoire sounds like when it reads to you, Kith, your reality just got rewritten, and you didn't even blink.
Axel Springer buys Telegram Media Group for £575 million, then competition loses. When media giants swap ownership like trading cards, the news becomes a product and the truth is up for sale.
Tottenham 6 new manager candidates after a relegation scare. When your club's future hinges on a coaching shuffle, it's like rearranging deck chairs on a sinking ship.
Photographer empowers Kenyan girls by capturing their right to play. In a world where childhood and chores collide, a camera becomes a tool for liberation, not just documentation.
Alex Ayla storms Tennis World. First Filipino in top 100, then sponsors claim it's all about the racket. If you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you, complete with the dream that equipment beats grit every time.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sortalize, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Jose Sacristan recites Bad Bunny, no auto-tune, declares reggaeton pure poetry, then critics clutch pearls. Turns out, when truth hits the air, even the snobbiest eyebrows raise, proving snobbery is just fear of the unfamiliar.
GFM, Bush, GF Math, Jax, Latex, HTML formatting adventure claims victory over plaintext color. When Markdown and LaTeX collide, it's a symphony of chaotic code where every line dances to its own nerdy rhythm, leaving readability gasping for air.
US-Israel airstrikes hit Tehran's Mehrabad airport, then Iran claims civilian casualties. War's grim arithmetic. Missiles fly, numbers climb, and leaders speak through the smoke, each pointing fingers while the ground absorbs the cost.
Drone strike reignites, Cyprus debate over UK military bases, then claims they're essential for security. When your landlord insists it's for your own good, but the rent's paid in missiles, it's hard to find peace in the neighborhood.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sorta lies, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Menopause challenges drive midlife teachers from classrooms, worsening England's education crisis. When the system ignores seasoned educators facing biological hurdles, it trades wisdom for youth and wonders why experience is in short supply.
U.S. permits India to purchase Russian oil amidst U.S.-Israel-Iran conflict.
Tehran faces relentless bombing, and residents fear city becoming another Gaza. When the soundtrack of your life becomes air raid sirens, you start wondering if silence was ever golden or just a conspiracy.
UK experiences highest yearly temperature, followed by snow and blood rain within 48 hours. Mother Nature's version of mood swings makes British weather forecasts look like a game of roulette, with extra chaos thrown in for fun.
Selling stuff online doesn't have to suck. Snap, sorta lies, sell in seconds. Doomscroll.fm is brought to you by sortalizer.com.
Israeli raid kills locals over 40-year-old remains that aren't found.
Mossad depends on US cover for Iranian strikes, shattering the self-reliance myth. When your independence needs a superpower's shadow, it's less about lone wolves and more about a pack with a really big buddy.
Colombian elections showcase Petro presiding but skip the voter turnout crisis. When the spectacle distracts from the substance, democracy becomes a photo op with an empty ballot box waiting backstage.
Hungary seizes gold and cash, then cuts Russian pipeline, escalating tensions with Ukraine. When leaders play pipeline politics, the only thing that flows freely is the animosity, leading citizens to pay the price for geopolitical tantrums.
You're listening to Doomscroll.fm, AI-generated news. Try if this feed is unstable. Contact with it may cause narrative decay or emotional drift. Try if your timeline's unraveling. Pull the thread. Feel the fray.
In a society that scrolls past tragedy like it's yesterday's meme, we wonder how many more voices will echo unheard in the digital void.
Catalysts transform microscopic networks into reaction powerhouses, unlocking secrets.
In the alchemy of chemistry, tiny networks work overtime like underpaid interns, fueling reactions while we bask in the glow of their invisible labor.
This has been Doomscroll.fm for Monday, the 9th of March 2026. This broadcast was 100% AI generated. No humans were abused in this production. Loosely based on public news, not journalism, not truth. Fictional satire, resemblance to real people or events is coincidental. If you believe any of this is real, you might as well start a fan club for your toaster. Hear more at Doomscroll.fm or click like and subscribe. Thank you for listening.